from ourselves. Mahatma Gandhi says, if you want to see the world, you have to change according to era. And if we don't follow, we only hang out that frame, that particular image in our school. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi, okay, Narendra Modi, okay, that is. But are we following
इस
that
पे व्हाट्सएप खुला है ना
track in real
इस पे
world?
लिंक भेज दो
We are
जो
not.
मांग रहा है ना ठीक
New
है वही
education
वहाँ बैठ
policy
जा
come
है
into force,
यहाँ
but
इसे लिंक भेज दे ठीक है
school
ये चल रहा है ना
founders also see from the CBSE, Dr. Thakur sir already here. I would like to say, on in the real sense, are we changing? We are thinking about quality skill sports. Do we think about particular quality education system from the grassroots level, and we are providing quality education to particular marginal communities? Because every section of we can see we should be responsible, and education is the very important part of the
यूट्यूब
CSR. So
वीडियो नहीं
definitely
चाहिए ना
we all should integrate all these aspects what I told, and I assured if we change from ourselves, definitely what is the motto behind this whole conference of the organizers, Mr. Marvin Kumar sir, having that great reason that how we can create revolution for higher education, maybe for school education, for youth employability, or changing the digital ecosystem. Definitely, we all should think about that. Thank you so much.
ये ले रहा
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद इंदिरानी जी आप लाइव कोच हैं और लगातार सरकार की योजनाओं पर भी बात करते रहते हैं और खासतौर से कोटा में आप इस तरह से एक्टिव हैं ये काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण है आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया दोस्तों हम आपको बता दें कि हमारे बीच में खासतौर से डॉक्टर कुलनीत सूरी मैम हैं आप हार्वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी जुड़ी हुई हैं प्रोफेसर हैं और सीनियर डायरेक्टर भी हैं हम आपसे आग्रह करेंगे कि आप आएँ और अपनी बात रखें और खासतौर से वैल्यू बेस्ड एजुकेशन पर हमने कहा था कि सर मैम आप इस पर तैयारी करके निश्चित तौर पर हमारे लोगों से बात करेंगे तो हम चाहेंगे कि आप इस पर बात जी मैम
इसके जाना पैनल पे क्या पे पैनल चल रहा है
Good afternoon, everybody.
जना स्ट्रीमिंग
Thank
पे
you,
जाना
ICCI, Mr. Manvin.
हाँ,
Thank you for inviting me here
उनसे माइक इंटरनल
and being able to address an august gathering.
भेज रहा हूँ सर
It is
भेज
really
रहा
a
हूँ
privilege for me to be here today amidst all of you. I want to begin with
सिस्टम
a
को
small
माइक बंद
instance
कर
from
दो
my childhood. I was put into a school by my parents, like every other parent, an Indian parent, thinking that an early start
मोनो
in benefits.
जो
I remember very
नहीं ये नहीं
consciously
आएगा
of
ये
going
नहीं
to the
आएगा बंद हो
school.
जाएगा
The first thing that would happen was invocation of the
ऑडियो पे चेक
gods,
करना है
prayer
यूएसबी
to
जा
the
रहा होगा
gods. The second thing that would happen was thought of the
माइक
day.
ऑक्स पुश टू
What are we going to do today?
मेरे
Thought
को लाइव
of
ही
the
नहीं वीडियो
day.
कैप्चर डिवाइस
The third thing that would happen every day was
करना एक
to
सेकंड
start
के लिए वाला
with
ऊपर
a
वाले
class. The subject was
बैठ गया
moral
ये
science,
इसका बैठ
moral
बैठ
science,
ऑनलाइन लिंक इसके पास है मैं
which is very important in shaping an individual as children. We would go to the houses of people
नहीं आ रहा ना
and involve them into seed plantation, into keeping their houses clean, into speaking truth, being ethical. We have spoken a lot about learning-based outcomes, about lots about placements, lots about courses. Yes, all this is very important. But my dear friends, what precedes this is value-based education. Value-based education teaches us to be ethical, to be honest, to be having integrity in everything we do, even when nobody is monitoring us. After my college education, I went to the States and I joined Harvard University. As a student of Harvard University, the first thing that we saw was Veritas. Veritas is on the emblem of Harvard University, and Veritas means the truth. So this thing, this value of being truthful, of having integrity is now into my soul, and this is what I practice with my students as well. So why did I tell you this instance about my childhood, my school days is because our brains are uniquely wired. I'll not go into the neuroscience process, but what we see during the childhood, what we experience during the childhood remains with us throughout our journey, whether it is profession or it is personal. Aristotle once said, education is a moral pursuit in which everyone should flourish, which means the entire humanity should flourish. It's not only for people who are going to the schools or the colleges or the universities. It's for everybody. It's for the farmers, it's for the civil servants, it's for just everybody. Value-based education underpins the values of, like I said earlier, honesty, relationships, and it also makes us understand universal positive human values. What ISKCON is doing today is all about teaching people to love each other, to be just to each other, to be honest with each other, to be ethical in whatever we are doing. Carl Rogers once said, it is important to have unconditional positive regard for everyone, which means neither the rich nor the poor. You do not have to see that if somebody is poor. You have to regard everybody because we are all human beings. Therefore, to all the respected members who are sitting here today, I would like to request and urge that please, whenever you are developing the curriculum, or even if you are following the curriculum of other universities, the affiliated colleges, it is very important that you also give some space to value-based education. Automatically, you will see the grades of the students improving, you will see their placements improving, you will see their personalities improving. They will be groomed for the future. We talk a lot about the 2030 agenda. We talk a lot about sustainability. Where does this sustainability come from? It comes from our habits. It comes from what we do every day. It comes from what we have learned throughout our journey till date and for future. It is my dream. I practice it every day with my students. And I would like to urge each one of you to practice it wherever you are, whatever profession you are into, or even if you are a homemaker, that please infuse value-based education, value-based thinking in whatever you're doing. Let us all be value champions. And the last thing that I would like to add is value-based education develops an atmosphere which is congenial for mental health and well-being. Value-based education increases the emotional intelligence of a human being, which means your self-awareness about your own self is enhanced. Bruce Lee once said, instead of buying your children all things you never had, you should teach them all the things you were never taught. Material wears out, value-based knowledge stays. It stays with you throughout your lifelong identity. So let us be value champions and build relational trust. Academic diligence will automatically follow. Leadership will automatically be inculcated. Competence will happen. Ethical living will happen. Tolerance, love, justice, and altruism are really necessary for today and for future. If you are talking about a sustainable planet, if you are talking about 2030 agenda, if you are talking about fast forwarding our private education systems. Thank you so much.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम, आपने समय निकाला है। खास हम आपको बता दें कि आप बाहर थीं, लेकिन हम आपसे आग्रह किए थे कि मैम निश्चित तौर पर और हार्वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी के कुछ न कुछ हमारे यहाँ पर कई लोग आए हुए हैं जिन्हें उन्हें अनुभव होगा। दोस्तों हम आपको बता दें कि ICCI इंटी एक्सलेंस चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स इंडस्ट्री एस्ट्रो पर भी अभी कार्यक्रम करने वाला है और हमारे बीच में मुंबई से सीधे आई हैं हेना प्रसून जी। मैम आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है, हमारे इस कार्यक्रम में भाग लेने के लिए आई हैं। किसान पर हम भी काम करने वाले हैं और इस पर लखनऊ में हमारा कार्यक्रम होने वाला है और हमारे बीच में किसान वर्ल्ड के संपादक शैलेंद्र मौर्य जी हैं, आपका भी बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। दोस्तों हम आपको बता दें कि लंच के बाद AICT से हमारे साथ में बुद्धा चंद्रशेखर जी आएंगे, संजीवन सिन्हा OSD2 सेक्रेटरी टेलीकॉम आएंगे और परवीन श्रीवास्तव अनूप मित्तल प्रेसिडेंट हैं ECCI के, वो आने वाले हैं और संजय श्री बस ADG हैं टूरिज्म के, वो भी, यानी सेकेंड थर्ड सेशन है, पूरी तरह से आपको रेगुलेटर और पॉलिसी मेकर मिलेंगे। और दोस्तों अब समय हो चला है, हम आपको खास तौर से CPJ ग्रुप ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशन के DG और कॉरपोरेट और इंस्टीट्यूट में एकेडमिया में लगातार साथ में काम करने वाले युवाओं को मोटिवेट करने के लिए ही नहीं बल्कि हम लोगों को भी लगातार हम आपसे मोटिवेट होते रहे हैं, डॉक्टर युगांग चतुर्वेदी सर, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। हम आपसे कहेंगे कि आप आएँ, अपने विचार रखें और निश्चित तौर पर ICCI को भी अपने खास तौर से कुछ सजेशन अवश्य देंगे। जी सर।
Thank you very much, Mr. Manvendra ji. Thanks to the organizers for giving me an opportunity before this esteemed gathering over here, educationists and lot others. And a very good afternoon to everybody there and on the stage too. This is the outcome-based education that we are going to be speaking about today in this session. And very frankly speaking, when I talk about education, like if I really look at it, if I talk about myself, I'm a hardcore corporate guy, but of course switched over to academics nearly a decade back, into hardcore academics then. I did my economics honors from Hindu College way back in 1984, as I see a lot many over here who seems my contemporary in age and all, they must have had their education at that time, which means we are an era, people of that era, जो उस समय के हैं कि जिन्होंने 70 और 80 में अपनी एजुकेशन की, और वो जो दशक थे दोनों बहुत ही एक अलग दशक थे, एक एजुकेशन का एक अलग का आयाम था जो कि आज एक बहुत डिफरेंट है। तो if you really look at it, having done my economics honors from Hindu College, despite being a medical student, but drifted from medicine to economics, because I could think that, I would not be able to cut those rats and those frogs anymore. And coming from a family which is very hardcore into art and culture, my mother has been an international repute classical singer and my father has been a Padma Bhushan राइटर, हिंदी पोइट, हिंदी जर्नलिस्ट, कवि, प्रखंड कवि लेखक रहे, तो somehow वो चीज़ अंदर नहीं थी और नहीं लगा, तो आई टू पिक्ड अप इकोनॉमिक्स ऑनर्स. एक बड़ा अलग टाइम था हिंदू कॉलेज का. जब मैं अभी गया सेंटिनरी में उनकी, तो मुझे कम से कम ड्राइवर बाई चांस उस दिन नहीं था, तो कोई 2-2.5 किलोमीटर आगे गाड़ी पार्क करनी पड़ी. याद आ गए खुद के वो दिन कि जिस समय यूथ स्पेशल्स हुआ करती थी, वो चाहे आप खुद हो चाहे कोई हो, उसका कॉलेज यूथ स्पेशल में बैठते ही शुरू हो जाता था. और उस समय जब मैं अभी सेंटिनरी में गया, बीइंग वन ऑफ द एग्जीक्यूटिव मेंबर ऑफ द एलुमनाई ऑफ हिंदू कॉलेज, I could not, I had to walk nearly 1.5 kilometers to enter into Hindu college because इतनी गाड़ियाँ लगी हुई थी. A complete system of education amongst the students also in India has totally changed, and I do not know whether we are really going towards the right directions or not, but I'll be coming on that because I'll just would relate little bit more things to you. Then I joined Delhi School of Economics and did my MA Economics from there. Again, a fantastic experience because we were a batch of around 30 odd students, only of which 18 were foreigners, and not by chance, but by default. And it started from there. Came back to India, and it started from there. Came back to India after serving in Europe for a good 7-8 years in different locations of Mekong, and then started my own company because could not mentally adjust to the Indian working environment of the companies over here. And then, of course, started my own company, ProGuild India, which flourished beautifully till the recession of 2008 hit us very badly, as most of our clients, were into training and all. We were massively into recruitments and placements and all. They were all foreign companies which were established in India in the 1990s. I'll come on that when we talk about education. कहाँ पर drift हुआ, हमें एक थोड़ा सा background की बात करनी बहुत ज़रूरी होगी. Sirf, of course, my colleagues have already thrown beautiful light on value-based education and lot other things also, skills, etc., etc. But we definitely need to come over and think about that, how things have happened. Nothing drops, कोई की चीज़ आसमान से गिरकर आपके लैप पे नहीं आ जाती और आप सोचें हाँ बदलाव आ गया. बदलाव लाना है अपने आप में एक process है. And if you talk about our great country, India, where we had placed, our historical feel of education like Nalanda and all, I suppose, so who all not to travel to our country to take education, and the kind of education system that we had. But of course, during the complete, overruling by the Mughals and later on by the British, etc., the education system definitely changed. इसमें एक बहुत बदलाव आया, इसमें कोई दो राय की बात नहीं कि बदलाव एक बहुत लंबे समय तक रहा. और सबसे जो वर्स्ट चीज़ रही हमारे देश में वो ये रहा कि हमारा जो पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड रहा सारा सिस्टम, उसने कभी भी थिंकर्स और कभी भी जो दार्शनिक लोग थे और जो कि बौद्धिक लोग थे, उनकी कभी भी उनको उस सीट पे नहीं बिठाया कि आप इसको रूल करिए कि एजुकेशन कैसे करनी चाहिए, कैसी होनी चाहिए. 1947, when we got independent and got out from the clutches of the British, very vague to say, since I'm an economist, we followed Mahalanobis, P. N. Mahalanobis, that's a great economist he was, but we followed P. N. Mahalanobis model towards dollar का चलता था. वो आपके Gulf War के बाद, that was only a absolutely paper currency with no value international. आज Indian rupee की क्या value है? Don't mind it, we say Indian is going to be a great economy and all that. Other than India and some neighboring countries like Nepal and all, we have to take foreign exchange if you are going out. Indian currency is still not a monetized currency, as you say, which is applicable to anywhere in the world, like your euro or a dollar or a pound, or so many other currencies. So we talk a lot, but when we really need to ponder about it, that what exactly lies beneath the table, beneath the curtain, beneath the carpet, there's so many things which need to be looked at. So from 1947, जो हमारे दूसरे countries, because of the impact of the Second World War, जितने भी आपकी imperialist nations थे, whether that was UK, that was France, that was Netherlands, that was Spain, that was Portugal, these European nations, they got so weak after the Second World War कि उन्होंने जिस country पे rule किया, अगर Second World War नहीं होती, तो मैं challenge करता हूँ कि British आपको और कुछ 90 साल तक rule करती. They got so weak because of their own economic powers, they got so weakened because of the World War that they were left with no choice but to start liberating those countries, and of course India too gained freedom. Of course we should not underline the struggle and everything which was done by our freedom fighters, no two doubts about it. But simultaneously what happened? The other countries like Singapore, like Taiwan, like so many others, who also, China I would say, But China also opened its eye only after when Hong Kong was leased out. The British leased out 3, and they could see the development in Hong Kong, the Chinese authorities, and overnight they could feel ki, oh, come on, aisa bhi ho sakta hai. And China, just look at it in 10 years, what they made themselves to be. Better to Hong Kong, in fact, when it comes to the economic turnovers. So where did we remain wrong? We remained wrong that we followed a model of development which was based on Mahalanobis and remained an absolutely closed economy. I remember, and you would also remember, so many people who are my contemporary in age, जब हम college में थे, school में थे, it was a dream किसी के घर में by chance सोनी का TV है कि कोई abroad गया था और सोनी का TV ले आया, तो it used to be a prized possession in one's house. If by chance somebody has brought, after paying a massive customs and an excise, a Honda car and is driving a Honda car on the road, it used to be a luxury, a very big luxury. Would people give a turning look to it? Why? Because we were a closed economy. We did not allow other than Hindustan Motors Ambassador or a Premier Padmini Fiat. No other 2 cars could come on the Indian roads. Other than a Televista and others Indian brands of TV, no other TV could be brought or could be bought because they were not available. Not just that, even the services industry, a bank like a Standard Chartered Bank, which started its first branch because we were ruled by the British. It was the oldest British bank, Standard Chartered. It started its operation in Fort Mumbai in 1896, but remained a dormant bank only to be, transferring funds from India and monies from India into the British territories and not for the Indian people. It never remained a retail bank. So what happened? The moment, the turning point in Indian economy, as per me, comes with the, I'm sorry to say that, with highest regards to the gentleman, with the assassination of Shri Rajiv Gandhi. 1991, if I'm not mistaken, it was 21st May 21, 1991. And after that, the sympathy wave, which absolutely swayed India, Congress came with an absolute thumping majority in the parliament with Sri Narasimha Rao ji as the Prime Minister. And a very, I would consider him a very intellectual soul when he acted as the Finance Minister, Sri Manmohan Singh ji. And with that, because कभी तक इतने सालों तक क्यों नहीं हो पाया? Because कभी भी बिल टेबल पे आप करेंगे वो पास ही नहीं हो पाया कि इस चीज में फ्री किया जाए, उस चीज में फ्री किया जाए. जब आप वर्चुअली कोई ऑपोजिशन ही नहीं थी, there was no opposition to any bill being paid on the table, everything start getting through, and उसमें through हो गया. आपकी Indian economy was absolutely barred from following the Mahalanobis model, and as a result, free economy. What happened? Free economy. Overnight, you had all these companies, Akai and a Samsung and LG and a Honda and a Hyundai and whatnot, they started flourishing and started establishing their bases in India. हम आज तक इस घबराहट में थे कि बॉस, हमने अपने आप को समझा क्यों इस बात को कि हम compete नहीं कर पाएंगे. Why were we incompetent? We were not incompetent. It was only a thought process by the politicians and the political systems and maybe their intrinsic interest into it that it was being thought that we would not be able to do that. Though it was absolutely wrong. And as a result, what happened? A complete generation suffered as a result of it. They remained in absolute misery. They remained in poverty. They did not remain in that kind of a good living standards as they could have had the political system come out with the right decisions at the right point of time. It was only after the 1992s that the free economy started. I remember I passed out my Delhi School of Economics in 1986-87. And Delhi School of Economics shares, जो यहाँ Delhi University के होंगे जानते होंगे, Delhi University आपका Delhi School of Economics आपका जो Faculty of Management Studies है, where you have the MBA in Delhi, the most prestigious, I would say. We do not have an IIM in Delhi, but of course Faculty of Management Studies, which is considered equally good. So faculty FMS and Delhi School, D School, they share the same canteen, a round canteen. On the left is FMS and this. I had a lot of friends who were studying MBA, same batch, 84, 86, and I was doing economics. We were same from Hindu or they were from Stephen, so we had been knowing each other very well. And which were the companies in 1986 when they passed out that were coming to pick them for placements? Atlas, Duncan's, Bonvita, Brook Bond, These were the corporates. And imagine, I'm talking about education. Imagine that immediately after the freeing of the economy, when these other corporates started flourishing and putting their bases into India, and especially in megapolis like a Delhi, which is considered to be a hub for the services center, we had n number of banks who started operating in the retail. Citibank, Standard Chartered, ABN AMRO, American Express. Which bank not? Every bank at the nook and corner of Delhi and Gurgaon. Gurgaon flourished only because of this freeing of economy. Because then all your multinationals, they started placing their bases there in Gurgaon and suddenly spruced up, a generation, a young generation. Aaj ab Gurgaon mein jaye to 99% of the populace that you will find in Gurgaon. Abhi, of course, recently there's a change because of traffic and all. A lot of people have started moving to Gurgaon. But if I talk about some years back, a majority of people who were her husband and wife who had taken a flat or an apartment, they bought it on installment. Both are earning flourishingly, and of course they can afford the installment of it. So then suddenly, आपके सामने क्या हुआ? I'm talking of a process. Suddenly क्या हुआ कि आपके सामने आया, आपके banks को जरूरत है, and suddenly पता चला कि एक MBA finance जो कर रहा था आज से 2 साल पहले, जो कि लिटरली स्पीकिंग उसे बोनविटा इतने के पैकेज पे उठाती थी, विच वॉज अ ड्रीम पैकेज फॉर एन इंडियन डूइंग टाइट फ्रॉम IIM or something, and as Citibank is picking for maybe 20 times what it was, a package which he might be getting annual, they are giving it monthly. And what happened? MBA finance became absolutely the area of interest. MBA finance. Suddenly came a change. How things happen and how they change the complete education system. Suddenly came a change, and IT revolution happened around the world, 1990s, late. And suddenly, MBIT, because suddenly everybody wants to be an MBIT, and this is how a technical glance takes a complete change. So what I would love to say, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen over here, is that change in education, Miss Suri did talk about value-based education, and I very much support her, what she said. And our friend did speak about the skill-based education, no two doubts about it. But definitely these all things are also to be there as a process. When she said that she was as a school student, she did go through this complete things and which got absolutely embedded into her. So it's a process that she got it from her school days, and that got into her. It's not that if she would have not gone into a school, would have not gone into that kind of a value system, it would have not got into her. So when she got into a college, or today when she's on the other side of the table, as a teacher or maybe as a director, as the owner, she might have not been acting in that direction because it got into her as absolutely when she was a child. So please try to understand, changing education, it cannot happen overnight. New education policy has also been declared by our revered Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, but at the same time, don't think it's going to be applicable overnight. They have come out with, 1 year it would be a diploma, 2 year would be a certificate, 3 year would be a degree, 4th year would be an honors, and there'll be an exit every year. But certain things are practically not really possible. It will take a real good time for people to understand that what is the process, how it should be going to be done, what exactly lies ahead. I don't wish to name the very leading politician whose article I was going through, rather an interview in which he's a very senior one in the Indian government. He was talking about that there's a very solid foreign exchange drain, because last year around 16 lakh students, 16 lakh students, they traveled abroad to few countries for their higher education. And this is the amount of foreign exchange drain that has happened to India, despite us having excellent center of educations. So these kinds of thought process जो हमारे अंदर आज तक व्याप्त है, कि हम क्या उतने capable नहीं है कि आप जाकर करके, and since I've studied abroad, please don't understand one thing, एक चीज बहुत clear करूँगा मैं, for everybody to understand. Supposingly, like India is a very strong center of education for countries which are African nations, which are Southeastern nations, because they do not have that kind of a solid education system as India has. But even a Nigerian or a Ugandan or a Kenyan or a Tanzanian, sitting in his own country, and if he's owning a mine or something and is definitely a absolutely out of riches man, he would never send his child here to India. He would send him to again to Britain or to UK or to US to study because he can afford it. Our education is considered to be the cheapest in all over the world if you really look at it. Value education and absolutely value education given at a price, as we give health services at a price which no other country can even think or dream of. So as a result, if what I'm trying to say is if an African person has sent his child to study in India, and when his neighbor asks what is he doing, oh, he's gone to India to study his post-graduation. Same way here, a lot of Indians say he's gone to America to study his, do his post-graduation. But post-graduation from where? The same way that African has come, is he doing his post-graduation in history, MA History or an MA English from Agra University or Bareilly University or, X University, Y University, or is he doing it from a prime college or a prime faculty of Delhi University or some other place? उसने सिर्फ इंडिया बोल दिया, ऐसे यहाँ पर है आपका कि अमेरिका जा रहा है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया जा रहा है, बॉस ऑस्ट्रेलिया में which university, which place, that would matter. Okay, ठीक है, no two doubts. A Harvard or a Princeton or a Cambridge or a Oxford have their own standings. The same way we also have our own standings. The only difference is that those educational institutes are not right from the beginning, are not politically motivated. Which in our countries, there's a lot of political interventions in these spheres of activity where there should not be any intervention, very frankly speaking. So I would only say, really hope for the best that, we as a country, we definitely, as our dear friend said, we are people who are very skillful. We are people who are very, very capable. हम वो सशक्त लोग हैं जिनके अंदर हर चीज़ की काबिलियत है. It's only the thing how much are we able to, exploit our potential, and before exploiting our potential, how much are we able to read our potential. And reading our own potential, our own intellect, our own caliber, that is also an art. It's not that everybody is able to judge it. Standing by the side of the pool and appreciating the waters of any swimming pool is a beautiful thing. है तो उसमें कूद जाइए ना. Then you will understand that you are really appreciating that pool, or you have started detesting it. Because if you are a swimmer, you would definitely love it. So you need to bring that kind of a caliber into yourselves before hitting the things. Aaj ka student, no two doubts. I am the Director General of an institution with nearly thousands of students, and they are very good friends to me. I have developed a very beautiful, people relations and all. So pretty friendly to all the students and all, and to my faculties and everybody. But trust me over there, I find one thing, a big flaw in today's students. They are overconfident. They are overconfident. They feel they know anything and everything. They are absolutely using a cut-short methods of, achieving and reaching to their targets. I'm not saying they are not hardworking. They are hardworking, but they think that being smart is the better way of, passing by, and this is what they're doing, and they're doing it little bit more than what they should do. No two doubts. If you talk about Darwin, and Darwin says that's a survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest is no more applicable today. It is the survival of the smartest. How smart are you? You'll survive. The smarter one survives better. Smartest survives the best. So come on. Fit though means it's in a way, you want to live some life, you want to be a part of that anybody and everybody would be. Somebody may live 5 years more, somebody would live 5 years lesser. But what quality of life did you live? Even if you passed a little early in your life, but what quality you lived for those 65 or 70 or 75 years, despite living absolutely a B-graded quality for maybe you lived for 90 years. So that is something which needs to be understood. And of course, in the last, as I'm summing up this session, Manvenji said ki aap last mein boliye, please. So I would definitely say कि contribution हम सभी का बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि मैं एक चीज़ मानता हूँ, अगर आप contribute कर रहे हैं, आप अपना जो योगदान देंगे, whatever that you're contributing, definitely it starts with you're contributing to your family. When you contribute to your family, you're contributing to the society. When you're contributing to the society, you're contributing to your state. When you're contributing to your state, you're contributing to your nation. And when you're contributing to your nation, you're contributing universally and internationally. So this is how is the process as it goes from one to the other. And on this contribution, before my summing up, I would I would give you a very, very small story which I really loved it and liked it when somebody narrated it to me in a gathering somewhere, very remote place in India. And I loved it, so I would share it with you because that's something nice. It talks about कि एक घना जंगल है, उस घने जंगल में एक पेड़ है और उस घने पेड़ पे एक ऊपर एक घोंसला है जिसमें एक चिड़िया और चिड़िया के 2 बच्चे हैं और चिड़िया उस जंगल में बहुत खुश है, वही उसका आसरा है, वही उसका सब कुछ है और वो रोज़ वहाँ पर अपने कुछ फल से कुछ छोटे मोटे तोड़ ताड़ के लाती है और उसमें बच्चों को देती है, बच्चे भी बहुत खुश हैं, बड़े हो रहे हैं. एंड कम्स अ डे ऑफ कैलामिटी व्हेन इट द फॉरेस्ट लग जाती है और बहुत घमासान आग लगती है और आग लगने के बाद जब पूरा जंगल जलने लगता है तो काफ़ी देर तक उसकी झुलस जो है, गर्मी जो है, वो पेड़ के पास भी आनी शुरू होती है और वो इतनी अधिक हो जाती है कि वो अपने बच्चों को उठाती है, उठा करके नहीं कर पाती कि कहीं और सेटल कर पाए. उसके बच्चे जो हैं गिर जाते हैं और बच्चे जो हैं नहीं रहते. अब जब बच्चे नहीं रहते उसका मन होता है कि वो भी ना रहे, कुछ रहा नहीं उसके पास. और उसके बाद भी वो देखती है अपने आसपास, देखती है ये वही जंगल है, वही है जहाँ उसने मुझे आसरा दिया, मुझे सहारा दिया, जिसके भरोसे में आज तक रही, खुश रही और आज उस जंगल में आग लगी है तो मेरा कंट्रीब्यूशन उसमें क्या है. तो शी फ्लाइज गोज डाउन. बहुत दूर एक तालाब है, उस तालाब से इतनी सी चिड़िया है, उतनी सी छोटी सी उसकी चोंच है, अपनी पीक में वो जितना पानी 2-3 ड्रॉप्स कलेक्ट कर सकती है उसे लेकर आती है और उसको डालती है, ऊपर से आग में गिरा देती है, जिसका कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ना. पर फिर से उड़ के जाती है, फिर 2-3 बूंद लाती है, उसे गिरा देती है, फिर उड़ के जाती है, 2-3 बूंद लाती है, गिरा देती है. इस कंप्लीट प्रोसेस में द चिड़िया गेट्स सो एग्जॉस्टेड that finally when the चिड़िया comes back, it also, is not able to having any kind of a courage and it just drops down and is no more. तो जब ईश्वर के पास पहुंचती है तो उससे ईश्वर कहता है तुम क्यों नहीं उड़ गई, तुम्हारे पास तो पूरा चांस था उड़ने का, तो why didn't you do that? He says, आना तो आपके पास था ही मुझे एक दिन, पर उस दिन जब मैं बहुत समय बाद आती तो मुझसे ज़रूर पूछते कि उस दिन जब जंगल में आग लगी थी तो तुमने क्या किया. मेरे पास कोई जवाब नहीं होता, तो आई वॉन्टेड टू कंट्रीब्यूट. सो माई डियर फ्रेंड्स इन ऑल, education, when we talk about so many things, skilled education and all, etc., 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 we are capable of bringing those changes, and changes can be brought when you join hands. When you're together, you think one, you think alike, automatically change starts taking place. And this is what I wish all my brethren and my sisters, my dear ladies and gentlemen sitting over here, to start thinking that way. And once we start thinking unilaterally towards a change automatically happens, and it will happen for the good and all. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, please. Thank you.
धन्यवाद, आप बहुमूल्य समय निकालकर हमारे इस खास कार्यक्रम में आए हैं. दोस्तों, हम आपको बता दें कि सांसद लवली आनंद लंच के बाद यानी 2 बजे आपके बीच में होंगे और कई गेस्ट अभी आए हुए हैं, लेकिन कुछ लोगों को जाना है. हम चाह रहे हैं कि कुछ अवार्ड्स हैं डॉक्टर अजय सर से, तो हम चाहेंगे कि उन्हें आप अवार्ड दे दें. आईजी यूनिवर्सिटी से कई लोग आए हुए हैं, उनके 6 अवार्ड हैं, उन्हें जाना है तो उनसे अवार्ड दे देते हैं. तो सर प्लीज़ आगे आके अतिथियों से आग्रह है कि आप आगे आके उन्हें अवार्ड दें. जी हाँ, जो पहला नाम है देवांश सिंह. देवांश सिंह के अवार्ड लेने के लिए मैम आ रही हैं. इनोवेटिव एकेडमी लीडर ऑफ द ईयर अवार्ड 2024, कंट्रीब्यूशन टू एजुकेशन, स्किल एंड रिसर्च. हाँ, सब डॉक्टर सुनीता सिंह, लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट. हाँ, नहीं, पहला अवार्ड हम डॉक्टर सुनीता सिंह का अवार्ड है, लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड ऑफ द ईयर 2024, कंट्रीब्यूशन टू एजुकेशन, स्किल एंड रिसर्च. जी मैम प्लीज. आप भोपाल से आई हैं, IES यूनिवर्सिटी से आई हैं और ये लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड है. जोरदार तालियों से स्वागत करें. इंटी एक्सीलेंट चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स इंडस्ट्री पहला लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड दे रहा है और मैम अभी कहीं काम में थी, उनके एवज में आई हैं डॉक्टर सुनीता सिंह. मैम प्लीज. जी हाँ, और भी कई अवार्ड हैं. IES यूनिवर्सिटी के देवांश सिंह का अवार्ड है, इनोवेटिव एकेडमी लीडर ऑफ द ईयर अवार्ड 2024, कंट्रीब्यूशन टू एजुकेशन, स्किल एंड रिसर्च. देवांश सिंह मैम कल मैम ही सारे अवार्ड लेंगी। मैम आप रख दीजिए यहाँ पर। जी, देवांशी नहीं आए हैं, उनके बस में मैम ही वो अवार्ड ले रही हैं। इनका भोपाल आईसी यूनिवर्सिटी से 6 अवार्ड है, और उन 6 अवार्ड के लिए मैम ही यहाँ पर आई हुई हैं, और ख़ास तौर से इनका स्वागत करें। आईसी यूनिवर्सिटी भोपाल बेस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी इन बेस्ट इंडिया ऑफ द ईयर अवार्ड 2024। इनका एक और अवार्ड है आईसी इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ फार्मेसी भोपाल बेस्ट फार्मेसी कॉलेज इन इंडिया ऑफ द ईयर अवार्ड 2024। जहाँ दोस्तों निश्चित तौर पर आईसी यूनिवर्सिटी भोपाल के चांसलर भी आने वाले थे, बीएस यादव सर अभी किसी कारण से नहीं आ पाए, लेकिन मैम से आग्रह है कि आप आईसी इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ फार्मेसी का अवार्ड लें, प्लीज़ मैम। मैम एक और अवार्ड है आईसी यूनिवर्सिटी का, डॉक्टर मीरा बंसल बेस्ट एजुकेशन अचीवर्स ऑफ द ईयर अवार्ड 2024, कंट्रीब्यूशन टू एजुकेशन स्किल एंड रिसर्च। यहाँ दोस्तों हम आपको बता दें कि आईसी यूनिवर्सिटी ने इंटू एक्सलेंट चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स इंडस्ट्री को सबसे पहला उन्होंने 6 अवार्ड अपने कॉलेज से नामांकित किया था, और 6 उनका सिलेक्शन हुआ था। तो आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। अब हम लव ऑफ टोकन के लिए हम बुला रहे हैं निश्चित संजय भाई, और हमारे बीच में गौरी शंकर साहू जी आए। सर आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है, आपका 3rd सेशन में हम आपको बुलाएंगे हमारे कार्यक्रम में। लव ऑफ टोकन के लिए हम खास तौर से हमारे बीच में राजेश जी हैं। राजेश जी आप आइए। और जी हाँ, हम युगांग से आग्रह करेंगे कि आप हमारा लव ऑफ टोकन को स्वीकार करें। आपने जिस प्रकार से समय निकाला है, आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। आरती मैम से आग्रह है कि आप आएँ और अपना लव ऑफ टोकन लें। अपना निश्चित तौर पर आपने भी समय निकाला है, खास तौर पर हमारे इस कार्यक्रम में आकर। सुधीर जी से आग्रह है कि आप आएँ, मंच पर आएँ सर। आरती मैम जी मैम बीच में। जी हाँ दोस्तों, आरती मेहरा आप जी खास तौर से आप देख रहे होंगे जी हाँ, और हाँ जी अब और लव ऑफ टोकन जी हाँ हमारे बीच में डॉक्टर दीपक नहीं क्षमा करेंगे, डॉक्टर कुलदीप सूरी मैम है हार्वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी से। आपको भी हम थोड़े से लव एंड टोकन देने हैं, क्योंकि आपने भी समय निकाला बड़े बहुमूल्य समय से, क्योंकि यार वर्किंग डे है जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने कहा था शेखर जी ने, ये अति महत्वपूर्ण है। हमारे बीच में अशोक ठाकुर सर हैं, आपको भी हम लव ऑफ टोकन देना चाह रहे हैं। जी सर। अशोक ठाकुर सर, अशोक ठाकुर। हमारे बीच में एनपी गांधी जी हैं, और हम आपका भी लव ऑफ टोकन देना चाह रहे हैं। जी अमित जी जाएं साथ में प्लीज। जी हाँ, जोरदार तालियों से स्वागत कीजिए। आप कोटा से हमारे लिए इस खास कार्यक्रम में आए हैं, आप सबों का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और हम आपको बता दें कि कौन है दिन को बाद में जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और हम लंच पर सभी लोगों को आमंत्रित करते हैं। लंच के बाद हमारा तीसरा सेशन होगा, जिसमें वर्कफोर्स डेवलपमेंट स्किल गैप्स एट द इंडस्ट्री एकेडमी इंटरफेयर्स। जी हाँ सर, आप लोग सभी लंच पर आमंत्रित हैं। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आप वैसे ही प्यार लुटाते रहिए। हम आपसे खास तौर से वादा करते हैं कि हम कई और भी कार्यक्रम लेकर आएंगे। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।